Good morning, boys and girls. I am back with the chapter Ranges and Functions. Class 8, boys and girls, please pay attention. Other day we have seen what is a range, multiple range and functions. There are 4 functions we have seen. Sum, average, minimum, maximum, right? Now what we are going to do today is, we are going to refer a cell. We are going to refer a cell. And whenever you refer a cell, what is a cell is all about? Intersection of row and column is known as a cell. As you all know, the rows are always numbered. The first row, second row, third row, fourth row, fifth row, sixth row, and keep going like this. Am I right? The columns are labeled as A, B, C, D, E, F up to Z. After Z, A, B, A, C, A, D, A, Z. Afterwards, B, A, B, 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 Z, B, C, B, D up to B, Z. It will be going up to X, F, Z. We have seen before, right? Whenever the cursor is there, that particular place is known as, in a worksheet, active cell. Where are you there? Which place does your active cell or the cursor is there? Left top corner, you have an address box. Wherever the cursor is there, it will be shown. For instance, on your left top corner, if you have E15, what does it mean? If it is E15 means 8th column, bth column, C, D, E. First row, second row, third row, fourth row, 15th row. E and 15, where they intersect, where they meet, that is the place where the active cell or the current cursor is available. We are working on that particular place. That is what this is called as cell referencing. Active cell we call. Where the cursor is there, you need not to look at what is the row and what is the column. No. Just look at left top corner. You will tell you that particular place will be displayed to you. This one is known as cell referencing. Boys and girls, it's known as cell referencing. There are 3 referencing can be there. Cell referencing means what? 3 of them. There are 3 different types of cell referencing are there. The first one is known as relative cell referencing. The second one is known as absolute cell referencing, and third one is known as mixed. Relative and the absolute, when you put together, the combination of these two is known as mixed cell referencing. Before I start explaining to you, I'll tell you what is the definition cell referencing. Of 3 types. The first one is known as relative cell referencing. Second one is known as absolute cell referencing. And third one is known as mixed cell referencing. I am going to explain all the 3 with an example. Boys and girls, I repeat again. When you listen this one, you will not understand. Such a simple concept. You sit in front of the system, right? I don't know, you are watching this video either through your mobile or a tab or a monitor, that part I don't know. If you are watching there with the help of your handheld devices like mobile or the tab, right? You switch on the computer, parallelly you work with one example, within no time you will understand. As I told you in the previous class, it's a practical subject. When you read, you may not understand. When you practically do once, then read the content of this particular chapter, that is page number 26, 27 and 28. Oh, you will understand within no time. It's a simple concept, very, very simple concept. See, look at the name, self-referencing. What is the self-referencing is? The words, the vocabularies sound bombastic. It's very simple. The intersection of rows and columns. Where does it means? You need not look at the row and column. Straight away look left top corner. That's called as a current cursor is there or active cell. Right? In this case, what did I write? E16 means eth column and 15th row. That is what the meaning is. Is this clear? Is this clear? Now what I want to tell you is this. Let me tell you what is this relative reference, absolute reference and mixed reference. What is this relative reference? I'll cite an example. Okay, boys and girls? I'll give an example, you will understand quite easily. Imagine you have a worksheet of this kind. You have a worksheet of this kind. Right? This is labeled as what? First row, second row, third row, fourth row, fifth row and sixth. Right? This one is called as 8th column, B column, 6th column, D, A, F, G, H and so on. Okay? This is how the worksheet looks like. What I want to tell you is this, boys and girls. If you click here, if the cursor is here, E2, this one is known as address. Where the current cursor is there? Cursor is there. Let me give it in different color. Where the current cursor is there? It's here. So you need not look at what is the column and what is the row. Where does it meet? So these two intersect out here. You need not look at that. Straight away look at right on top. This is called as address. Each column, second row, this is how it meets. This is how it meets. Is this clear? This is called as self-referencing. What do you mean by relative self-referencing? Should I tell you? Relative self-referencing. I'll give an example. Here, 70, 30, 50. Right? 70, 30, 50. If you want, I can give you this. Say a person AB, a person XY, a person PQ. Right? So let's say 20. Now, boys and girls, I am going to tell you what is a relative referencing. Should I tell you now? I will do with a different color chalk so that you will understand. What I am going to do is this. Here, I am unable to write a formula out here. That's the reason I am writing here. What I am typing is equal to. Do you want to write sum or average? Sum will do. Okay. Right? Sum. What do I do is B1. B1 to B1 to B1, B2, B3, B4. The moment equal to sum B1. This is the starting range and this is the ending range. In other words, lower limit and upper limit. It starts from here, it goes up here. So whatever the values in between these two, if they are numbers, it gets summed up. That is what this function do. Equal to sum. Any formula must begin with an equal symbol. That's what I told you in the previous class. Am I right? Okay, now what I am going to do is this. What does it do? B1. What is the B1 is? This is the first row, second row, third row, fourth row. So B1, B2, sorry, B1, C1, B1, C1, D1, E1. I'm sorry, I will do E1. If I do like this, it will add like this. So what I am doing is I am going to add B1, C1, D1, E1. So what do I do it here? It will sum it up. 20 plus 70 is 90, 90, 120, 120 plus 50 is 170. The answer would be how much? 170. Is this clear? Now what I am going to do is, if I want the total of these things, I need not to type this. Instead, I can copy it. As you all know, Control C and Control V. I told you how to copy and paste. Control C and Control V. Otherwise, you can click on the edit menu. The menu drops down. Click here, right? Then Control C. Otherwise, copy it. Edit, copy it, and keep the cursor here, and paste it. This can be done. Copy and paste. I'm sure you must be knowing, right? Right. So what happens is, this is the formula I typed. I need not to type the formula it again. Instead, what I can do is I can copy and paste. What do I do it? I keep the control here because this is the active cell, which is F1. What is this one is? F1 will be there. I wanted the same formula to be copied here and here. For which what do I do is I click here, Control C, I do it. The active cell is F1, Control C. Keep the cursor here and keep pressing the Control key and down arrow key. Otherwise, use the mouse. I copied here. I click this is the active cell, Control C. Then click and drag it. 2 columns. Say Control V. Control C is meant for what? Control plus C. When you press together, this cell, the content of the copy, the formula will be copied here. And what do I do is I drag the mouse both the places, it becomes darker. Then say Control V. Control V means formula will be copied here both the places. Beauty is this, boys and girls, here. What formula did you type? B1 to E1 you typed here. When you copy it here, automatically the formula would be sum of B2 to E2. I repeat again, I copied the formula, the cell gets changed by itself. I summed up from B1 to E1, it is summed up, right? When I paste it, when I copy and paste it here, what happens is, do not think that B1 to E1 will be there. Automatically, it is going to add up these things. That is, person XY's, these marks gets added up. Here what happens is 80, 105, 140 will be there. 140 will be there. This would be the sum of B2, C2, D2 and E2. Is this clear? Though you copied it, the formula B1 will not be there. Automatically B2 will be there. E1 will not be there. E2. What does it signify? From B2, C2, D2 and E2, whatever the numbers are there in between this range, all gets summed up. That is what it means. When I paste here, what happens is, the answer would be 100. In this case, what happens is, sum B3 to E3. Mind you, you copied this. When you paste it here, B1 becomes B2, E1 becomes E2. When you paste here in the third column, B1 becomes B3, E1 becomes E3. When I copy down, automatically the row will be changed automatically. This is called as the content of this B1 to E1 gets summed up. Here, when you copy it, please mind B1 will not be copied. This particular, relatively, the row gets changed. So what the row is? First row becomes second row becomes third row, like this. This one is known as, I am referencing the relative referencing. Absolute referencing means a very simple one. Before that, you must put a dollar symbol. Dollar symbol, I'll let you know with an example. Is this clear? Should I repeat again? Boys and girls, should I repeat again? Okay, for the better clarity, let me repeat again. You type any formula, need not to be sum. You can use, there is a, in your menu bar, go to insert, formula. You have a menu bar, file, edit, insert. If you click insert, the menu drops down. Variety of things can be inserted. One of them is called as what? Formulae. Fx is shortest form of f of x, means formulae can be inserted. Otherwise, if you have a toolbar, one of the icon, if you have click on this fx, the whole lot gets displayed. What happens is, there are variety of formula will be there, whichever you wanted you can use, right? Like other day we have seen 4 of them. In your book also they are given 4 functions, right? What happens is, you copy it, use one of the functions. In this case I used sum, so I am summing up from B1 to E1. I am adding a, so this is the formula I entered. When I copy it here, relatively the row number gets changed. B1 to E1 becomes B2 to E2. When I copy it here, what happens is B3 to B1 becomes B3, E1 becomes E3. When I go to 100th row, what happens is B100 to E100. It gets changed by itself. Is this clear, boys and girls? Is this clear? Yeah. Now let me tell you what do you mean by absolute referencing. Should I? Yeah. Now what happens is, here formally I wrote E1. Now what am I doing? Before E I put a special character called as dollar. A dollar symbol I inserted. What happens is, when I insert the dollar, so before the column I put a dollar, before the row I put a dollar. In this case, you know what happens? Whenever you copy it, the first parameter will be changing. Here it won't change E2, instead E1 will be remains. I'll give an example. What happens? Let us see here. B1, this is the B1, B2, C2 up to E1. Before E means each column, okay? Each column and first row. What happens is 20 plus 70 is 20. I'll do one thing. I will change it. I'll change the color of this. What happens is, if I insert this, what will happen? Tell me, boys and girls. B1 and C1 gets multiplied. E1 and C1 gets multiplied. The sum is also not required. In fact, if you want, okay, let's see that. 20 into 70, the answer would be 140. 40. The answer will be 140. When I copy and paste it here, what happens is 25 into 35. 25 into 35 will be 5 is 2, 8. Right? Now what I am going to tell you is this. Here I am going to change this dollar symbol. $C, $1. If I do it, you know what happens is this and this gets multiplied 140. This remains same. When I copy it here, same formula here, you know what happens, boys and girls? In this case, you know what happens? Here, C will remain, that is column, and 1 also will remain. This will not be changed unlike this. B1 has become B2, right? Whereas this will remain same. This will remain. What is the B2 value is? B2 value is 35. Then C1 value is 70. So 70 into 35. The answer will be how much? 2450. Again, same formula if I copy it here. What happens is, here the meaning would be B3 into C1. It will not be C3, C1. Because you have put, what is the B3 would be? B3 would be 10 and C1 will be 7. It becomes 700. What is the difference between the relative means? Relative means you don't put the dollar symbol. When you copy and paste it, automatically row and column change relatively. When it comes to absolute referencing, so the row and column is preceded by a dollar symbol. It has to be preceded by a dollar symbol. You know, in this case what happens is, the first parameter B1 becomes B2 because from the first row you have gone to second row, because this is the relative referencing. The moment I put the dollar symbol, it becomes an absolute referencing. This remains constant. This remains same. So B2 into C1, B3 into C1, because I put the dollar symbol. So what happens is B1